Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Hunt Club podcast. Today, we have a product briefing on our end of year 2025 platform enhancements. And if you are following along on the number of releases or on what number this release is, it's going to be release 9.7. And today is just me, but we have very quick updates on our enhancements, and it'll just be a super rapid fire conversation. And so our first enhancement here is our clarity-based enhancement on groups based in AD membership. And this is specifically on our quadrant UX. And so what this is, groups based on AD membership, and if you haven't checked out our podcast specifically on this feature, it is a capability that automatically syncs your existing Active Directory groups with Vectra AI platform's groups. And these groups contribute to things such as prioritization, the urgency score, the threat velocity, things that are very, very important in terms of clarity and getting that clear signal that you want and you need for action. And what this does is that it eliminates that manual need to go in to the Vectra AI platform and configure your groups based off of whatever it is that's part of your system. Because what you can do is that the Active Directory groups that you've already set up will just sync automatically on the Vectra AI platform. And this cuts a lot of triage noise. It also speeds up the response for high value alerts because those groups are now maintained across all systems. So what this really means for security teams is greater operational efficiency, clearer detection signals, enabling teams to focus on threat hunting rather than administrative group management. Please check out our podcast that specifically speaks about this feature. It has a lot more information, and just a caveat here, this is available for both Rux and KeyUX. Then this release just releases it on the Quadrant UX. Our next enhancement is also a clarity enhancement on the Quadrant UX, which is the AI scoring prioritization agent. Has been available on Rux for quite some time now, but now we're releasing it on the Quadrant UX. And what makes AI prioritization of the Vectra AI platform unique is that most security tools just look at isolated alerts, but Vectra looks at hundreds of behaviors across the entire environment. So we're looking at activities from AD, network, cloud, SaaS, devices, and we connect that all together to form a true attacker behavior. And then instead of overwhelming analysts with a bunch of alerts, we distill this into a single urgency score that's prioritizes an entity rather than a bunch of different devices, domains, IPs, whatever it may be. And how this works behind the scene is that the system ingests detections from all these domains. So you got Active Directory, network, M365, and so on. And that stitching engine relates those behaviors by asset so analysts get that unified view. And then AI triage removes benign or expected patterns and prevents that unnecessary noise. And then the last piece there, AI prioritization, the system factors in contextual systems like historical attacker behaviors, inferred system importance, and that output is one risk number plus a clear narrative on explaining what's happening and why it matters. So what this matters, or why this matters for security teams, is that other tools miss attacks entirely, or just they're buried under a bunch of false positives, a bunch of alerts. So incorrect prioritization can lead to high impact breaches, and then because that real threat gets lost in the noise, right? So Vectra's approach highlights the systems that genuinely pose the most risk, so that analysts can look at that risk and respond appropriately. And why analysts love this is it really answers the question like, what do I focus on next? What do I do next? And so the system provides a human readable explanation that guides next steps. It dramatically reduces investigation time by connecting those behaviors across hybrid identity and cloud ecosystems, and then it empowers analysts to stop attackers earlier with higher confidence. And so our AI prioritization agent isn't about alert ranking, it's a risk quantification engine that makes sense of all this complex, distributed, siloed signals at a machine level, or I mean, machine scale, sorry. And it delivers that clarity that analysts definitely need in their day to day. For more information on the AI agents that are behind our Vectra AI platform, please check out our podcast that I'll link in the description below. But that's our AI scoring prioritization agent, which is now available on the Quadrant UX. Next, traffic lockdown. This is a Rux enhancement that is currently in public preview. And this is only available in the Respond UX, not the Quadrant UX just yet. But what this is a very, very important capability for our response. So what problem are we trying to solve here? One of the biggest challenges SOC teams face is stopping an attacker in motion as they're moving through the environment, as they're looking at assets, and as they're exfiltrating assets. Once a compromised host starts talking to a command and control server and scanning the environment, the clock is ticking. We need to respond quickly. So every second is another opportunity for the attacker to escalate and steal the crown jewels, essentially. So what this new feature does on the Respond UX is that it's Vectra's way of saying, let's stop their communication instantly. So the moment we see indicators like C2, reconnaissance, or lateral movement, we can automatically block the host's outbound traffic at the firewall level using the customer's existing infrastructure. So whatever firewall that you have, we'll use that. So there's no agent, no policy engine, and no manual firewall updates. This can be done manually or automatically. And so why this matters and what this means for you is that what's really important here is that attackers rely on communication. They need to go back and forth with their infrastructure to keep moving. And so when you cut off their C2, it's like severing the puppet strings. The attacker just loses visibility, control, and momentum. And because it's enforced at the network perimeter at your firewall, it's authoritative containment. There is no way for an attacker to just wiggle around there and with evasion tricks or protocol manipulation. It really just stops the attacker. And so what this means for you is our customers tell us that one of the fastest ways they've ever seen this is one of the fastest ways we've seen to stop an active threat, prevents lateral movement, shuts down C2, and it does it without disrupting normal business traffic. So this is a huge, huge feature that we just released. It's currently in public preview, meaning that once it's in GA, there's even going to be even more features, more things that you can do with it, and it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a podcast coming out specifically about this feature, so keep an eye out. And just a caveat, this is once again for Respond UX, and it will come out for QX soon. Next is an enhancement on Operational Overview Report, our reporting system. Once again, this is on a Respond UX. And what this is why this exists, first of all, is that every SOC leader struggles with the question of how do they actually measure whether my team is effective and where is our real risk concentrated? And this report we built directly answers those questions. And so what this report actually provides is a snapshot of SOC performance, security posture. So instead of a list of logs or dashboards, it gives you a clean view of your prioritized hosts, your riskiest accounts, detections that matter most, and then how the team is responding. And how this is different from traditional reporting is that reports just dump a bunch of data on you. This one is a little bit opinionated. We have a perspective on it. It highlights what's important, where the patterns are emerging, and how analyst workflows are performing over time. And this will actually turn that operational chaos that you might see in other dashboards and reports into something leaders that can actually understand, act on, and give to their board of directors. So the business value here, the biggest benefit is confidence. Leaders finally have data-driven ways to show the impact of their security program, of their security team, both to executives and then to auditors or stakeholders. And this helps them fine-tune their processes, improve triage efficiency, and then focus the team on what actually reduces risk. We have a podcast specifically for this, so please check it out. We dive a lot more into the components of the report. We even do a demonstration of it, so please take a look on that. And then the QUX, the Quadrant UX version of this will come out very shortly. So that's operational overview report. Now we're going to get into a little bit of brass tacks with architecture and administration. First with on the Quadrant UX, which HTTPS only access for IDRAC and embryo status page. That's a lot of acronyms, a lot of things, but essentially this is just a security enhancement that disables all HTTP port 80 access for IDRAC and embryo status page. This forces the interface to use encrypted HTTPS only communication, so it removes exposure to unencrypted traffic without requiring any customer action. So you don't have to do anything. This is just gonna happen just automatically, so you don't have to set anything up. But what this really means is what we try to do in everything. We're a security company first and foremost, is to make things more secure. So stronger default applies security, alignment with modern best practices, and then reduces the risk of ensuring all management interactions are encrypted by design. So encryption is good. It helps us be protected and to protect you guys. So that's a very quick update on that on Quadrant UX. We have some more for Rux. Our configuration menu navigation has changed. It's changed to be better. So what this is we redesigned the configuration tab that you see on the left side of your screen to consolidate all manage and settings controls in a single intuitive interface. So right now, or previously, it was kind of messy, kind of hard to navigate. We admit that. What we did and made it a little bit more intuitive for you. So streamlines navigation, reduces friction, helps users locate and adjust environment settings with greater ease and clarity. This just is an ease of life improvement for you. What this means, faster and efficient, a more efficient platform admin, boost operator confidence, frees teams to focus on security outcomes, not UI hunting. We don't want you to not want to use our platform because then what happens next? We want things to be super easy, super navigatable for y'all, and this is what it does. So please check it out on our Respond UX. Think this is our last one here, maybe. Oh no, there's one more after this. But we have multi SAML support, SAML support. So what this is add support for multiple SAML profiles. So add support for multiple SAML profiles within the Respond UX. So allows customers and MSSPs to configure, manage integrations with multiple identity providers at the same time, and that removes the previous single IDP limitation. So what this means is greater flexibility, compatibility with complex or multi-tenant identity environments, smoother and more scalable SSO deployment. So definitely just making it a little bit easier to use our platform. And yeah, so it's a very simple enhancement here or a change in the back end, but this multi-SAML support does make life a little bit easier for you to use our platform. Our last one is on our Respond to UX, support access to Rux tenants. And when we say support, we mean our support teams. So this new capability allows our Vectra AI support employees, people that are specialized in supporting you, the customer, to securely access Rux tenant UIs when required. This makes the configuration actually present in the UI. So it enables customers to grant, set expiration dates for this access so that it's temporary, controlled, auditable. We don't want to linger in your system at all, but we do also want to give you all the support we can, and that sometimes requires being in your system. But with this support or with this access or this enhancement, you guys are the control is in your hand. So what this really means is just stronger governance and trust through time-bound, customer-controlled support access, aligned with security and compliance expectations. So if you have stuff going on that end, in terms of compliance and auditing, you are ensured to be compliant and to make sure that you have the control on it. So that brings us to the end of our end of the year release. We have all the details listed out in our new release notes repository at vectra.ai/products/release-notes. So please check that out. It's really intuitive. You can filter by a lot of things, so if you want to follow along on that. And that concludes our end of the year platform enhancements. What are your thoughts? How do you like the structure? Is it cool to just have me here? Do you like Tiff here or Nicole here more? And comment down below which feature seems the most interesting to you. Personally, for me, traffic lockdown is pretty awesome, but wanted to hear from you and we'll respond once we see something. But thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next time and happy end of the year. Bye bye.